Look at me. I'm just done with my network scan and here are my results. I have an Nmap scan and I have a Nessus scan. Why would you use multiple scanners for the same target? Well, they all have their strengths and weaknesses. So if you want to be thorough like no one ever was, you gotta scan them all. But this leads to a problem. The information I'm after is not stored in one place, but scattered across different files. And in our case, these files are written in XML, which I don't want to read and neither should you have to. Wouldn't it be nice to have a tool which could read all these different scan files, combine their information and provide me with understandable output? That would be useful. And lucky for you, this video is about a tool that does exactly that. It's called scans2any, fully open source, developed by us here at softScheck in Germany, and it can do a lot. Allow me to show you. Let us begin with the Nmap scan I showed you earlier. We can simply hand it over to scans2any with the Nmap flag and the path to the Nmap scan. Let's see what this tool is capable of. Hey, this already is way easier to read. I have a nice little table with IP address, host names, some service information, and even operating system. Can we do the same thing with Nessus? Sure can. Just use the Nessus flag and the Nessus file. And the output is yet another table. We can already notice a difference. The Nessus scan we see here has more open ports, but it doesn't have any host names. Whereas the Nmap scan we've seen before has host names, but fewer open ports. But I would like to have both. I would like to combine the information from both scans. With scans2any, it's as simple as providing both inputs at the same time. And the output is the combination. A large table with all the ports and all the host names. And we can add more and more scans to it, however many we like. If we look at the help output of scans2any, we can see the different input formats that are supported. Up here we have the different options. I've already shown you Nmap and Nessus, but we can also read Bloodhound, MassScan, NetExec databases, and others. And whatever we provide will be combined into this little table format. The table is certainly pretty, but maybe you would like some other kind of output format. This is where scans2any really shines and where the name comes from. You can turn your scans into any kind of output format. We call these output formats writers, and the help output shows us the options that we have. So far, we have used the default, the so-called terminal output. But we can also write Markdown, LaTeX, HTML, and even Excel spreadsheets. And if you're a fan of YAML, you can use YAML. Simply provide the W flag and the format that you want to use, and the output is as you wished. There are a couple of output formats that are a little strange, however. What is Nmap supposed to mean? Yes, we have chosen Nmap as an input format, but what does it mean to use Nmap as the output format? This is something special I would like to talk about. With scans2any, we can prepare network scans based on already existing network scans. Let's, for instance, say we don't want to have ports that are only scanned in Nessus but not scanned in Nmap. We can use scans2any to read Nessus as the input, choose Nmap as the output, and the result is a little shell script which will scan all ports with Nmap that have been identified by the inputs we provided. We have all the ports identified by Nessus, even UDP, which so far have been completely missing from my Nmap scan. Certainly we can change this script, we can parallelize it, we can adapt it however we want, but it would already function in this state. scans2any even adds a closed port for each host to aid Nmap with OS detection. It is one of those small details that add up. Let us now imagine we were to handle more than just 2 files. Let's say this directory were filled with files and we would have to combine them all with scans2any. We can certainly add them all individually like I've shown you so far, but this becomes tedious very quickly. With scans2any we can be a little bit lazy by using the autoparser with the A flag. Now we just need to provide the directory where all the scans are, and scans2any will recursively traverse the file system and search for files of all different kinds, infer the correct type based on file name and file content, and parse them accordingly. With the output format, I want to do something special and use the JSON format. We can redirect the output or choose an output file, just like so. Storing our results in JSON is especially useful when we are dealing with many large files, where reading and combining them might take a long time. By storing everything in JSON, we only have to read and combine once, and can then at a later point decide what to do with it. What can we do with it? Quite a lot actually. Because it is JSON, we can of course analyze it as such. For instance, we can use a little bit of JQ-foo to ask complicated questions, like how many hosts are in the file? Or how many of these hosts have port 80 open? Just 2. And we can even build a little URL list with all port 80 hosts. The real special thing about JSON, however, is that scans2any accepts it as input again. So we can read it as input here and then do what we tried beforehand, but better, by using the URL output writer. And now we have all the URL and can search for the kind of URL we are interested in. And now we have all web ports with the according schema. All right, this also leads to the answer of another question. I've shown you the different output formats that exist, and there are quite a lot of them, but let's imagine you have an output format that you want to use that isn't supported. What do you do then? Well, your first option would be to change scans2any. The code base has modularity in mind, and adding a new output format is as simple as adding a single Python file. But if you don't want to change the code base or don't want to write in Python, you can use the JSON output as an interface of sorts. Hand over the information to a program that you have written in whatever language and use that to build the output that you envision. In that sense, you can truly build any kind of output format. All right, I've shown you in this video the surface of scans2any. There is still a lot that I didn't cover. I haven't talked about filters, columns, ways you can shape the output, or the merge file. If you're interested in more, I can recommend to you our blog post, where we go into further detail on why we built the tool and how you can use it. You can also visit our GitHub page, where you will not only find the source code for the tool, but also further documentation on how you can use it, as well as instructions on how to install it, and all the network scan files that I've used in this video. I believe that if you work through this tutorial.md file, you will have a very good understanding on how to use scans2any. We built this tool because we saw a real need for it in our workflow and in general. and we actively use it in our work. But now we are interested in what you think about it. Do you like it? What do you think we should add or improve? And if you end up using it, what do you use it for? If this could become an additional piece in your tool belt, we'd be immensely honored. I'll leave you all the links in the description, and I'm looking forward to hearing from you. Until then, keep on hacking.